everyone? You are watching Public Affairs. My name is Kayleigh. I am your host, and today I am here with two representatives from Marion Citizens for Life. So, why don't you guys introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your background and why you wanted to get into this Marion Citizens for Life?
Yes, my name's Claes. I'm a physical therapist here in town. I've been passionate about the cause for life for a number of years. We began it back, 25 years ago when we started the program, and I've been involved ever since. So I can't think of a greater cause to be involved in right now. So,
my name is Karen East. First of all, I'm a mother, and I have a passion for children. I've been in and out of the local program for over 30 years, but more out than in. But now I'm in to stay, and I'm like Dale. I can't think of a more profound cause to give my voice to for those who have no voice.
So we have a lot to unpack today, so we're just going to dive right into this information. So what and who is Marion Citizens for Life?
Yeah, we are a group of life-minded people. We represent, 6-7 different churches in the Marion area, and we have a passion to speak out for those that can't speak for themselves. We want to raise awareness. We want to educate the community. And especially, we want to be a source of prayer for all things relative to life from conception to natural death. We fight for the rights of the unborn, the disabled, the sick, the elderly, the trafficked, and the unloved in a world where the lack of respect for innocent life has escalated to the point where they are all at risk. We partner with other pro-life organizations to offer information, education, resources, and community events. Our theme verse comes from Proverbs 31, verses 8 to 9, and you might think, that's the virtuous woman passage at the end of Proverbs. But right before it starts talking about that wonderful woman, it has these verses that say, "Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. Ensure justice for those who are perishing. Yes, speak up for the poor and the helpless, and see that they get justice." That's the King James passage. Or not King, excuse me, NIV.
Well, thank you. How do you pursue your mission and your message?
Well, we just try to get out there. We have efforts to create visual reminders of the tragic loss of life due to abortion. We try to proclaim the sanctity of human life at all ages. And our efforts are also to educate the community.
So you talked about getting out there, and but give us some examples of how you've gotten out there.
Okay. We do the Cemetery for the Innocent, and even when I wasn't in this program, periodically, that was the most, profound visual, that this is a cemetery. There's 3,500 crosses that represent 3,500 lives, babies that are aborted daily in this country. Since Roe versus Wade Supreme Court in 1973, 65 million babies have lost their life. And the crosses are available for other groups to use. Everything that's needed is a trailer ready to be hooked up and taken. So they have we've loaned them to many other communities across the state. And then there's the annual Life Chain, It's the first Sunday in October always. We're usually out on 95 in front of the old Marion Catholic High School. We just silently pray and hold up signs affirming life and Jesus to the community. You can bring your lawn chairs, and for an hour, we just silently pray and show the community that there are people here that still have a passion for the unborn. We also do community events, like at the Popcorn Festival, we have a booth, and we do First Friday in Delaware. We have a booth. We started that last year. Marion Mall Expo we've done for the last 2 years. The Praise Fest in August. We're engaging people in conversation on subjects related to abortion, euthanasia, human trafficking, and the Bible. And then we have organized Sanctity of Life services in the community. We've been in various venues, including Voice of Hope, senior citizen settings, and churches. Speakers have included representatives from disability awareness groups like Joni and Friends. It's Johnny and Friends, I believe. Pastors and other politicians. And then we've done events like Silver Ring Thing. It's a one-night event for teens with a strong abstinence message, and Modesty Fashion Show, which is a Saturday luncheon format with guest speakers providing instructions on proper attire.
So you guys have really been out there doing a lot of stuff in the community, which is really well, getting your message out there within the community. Let's shift gears a little and talk about some of the specifics about abortion. And it's such a polarizing issue in our country. What would you like our viewers to know?
I think first and foremost, we want to talk about the person that's most ignored in this debate. And of course, we're talking about the baby. In all the shouting about women's rights, you seldom hear a pro-choice message or argument that recognizes the fact that there is a separate, distinct life involved here besides the mother. It's a life that begins at the moment of conception. It's a life that can have a heartbeat as early as 18 days. A life that has the distinct shaping of head and spinal cord between 3 and 4 weeks. It's a life that has fingers, mouth, lips, and its own blood supply, often different from its mother's, at 6 weeks. At this age, brain waves can be detected. It's a life that can move, swallow, and even hiccup at 7 weeks. A life that has eyelids, fingernails, fingerprints, and all of its organs, skeletal structure, and nerves by 11 weeks. It's a life whose sex can be determined under ultrasound at 12 weeks. A life that can experience pain by 14 weeks. A life that can be felt moving in the womb at 16 weeks. The obvious point here is that we're dealing with a life. I brought along some models. Got a model of a 10-week-old. And you can probably zoom in and see. You got head, you got arms, you got legs. 10 weeks old in the womb. Just a couple weeks later, 12 weeks, just a little bigger, a little more detailed. These are actual life-size models, by the way. This is 20 weeks. Moving on up, 26 weeks. And I'm getting bigger now, 30 weeks. Now, let's take a time out here. What's the current noise we're hearing now politically? What I hear is people saying that, hey, in order to get any kind of compromise on this issue, we should think about allowing abortion up to 15 weeks. Yeah, that seems fair enough. After all, the baby's just a mass of cells, blob of tissue. I think we've just illustrated that at the age of 15 weeks, all the parts are there. It's clearly a human being, distinct, special, to be valued. That's why we strongly recommend that an expectant mother, before deciding on an abortion, they should have an ultrasound. See that 3D image of the life inside her womb. And there's many studies out there to show that if an expectant mother has that opportunity, that at least half of them will choose life instead of ending the life.
That's a lot to unpack there. I know when he first brought these out, I was dumbfounded because people, like you said, 15 weeks is like the average abortion rate. And just seeing at 10 weeks old, they've got a head, they've got hands, they've got all this. So that's what's going. So can you share some statistics that might help us understand the issue a little more?
One comment I heard a long time ago that still I think is very powerful, and it's the statement that for an abortion to be successful, someone has to die. And I got to thinking, how in the world can that be considered health care? So just ponder that a little bit. In the United States, 1 out of every 5 pregnancies ends in abortion. In Ohio, it's a little better. It's only 1 in 7, according to the latest statistics. The average loss of life in Ohio every year is 21,000 lives. And in the meantime, there's statistics that show that there are 52,000 families that would love to adopt. So that option is always there to consider, that you could always put the baby up for adoption. I'd like people to also be aware of the technique of abortion. And it changes as the baby grows older. There's one technique for those under 10 weeks, 10, 15 weeks. There's another technique when you get up to the 20 week. And there's even techniques for late-term abortion. And there's also the technique that's gotten more popular here in the last several years, and that's the pill, the abortion pill, which you hear a lot about. And again, statistics are saying that over half of the abortions performed now are done through use of the pill. And if you study those, they are all brutal toward the baby. I mean, we're talking tearing literally limb from limb. So there's resources out there that you can go to learn more about the technique, but it's tragic how these lives are terminated. Another statistic is that as far as the age when women have abortions, mainly in the 20s, mainly to women of lower income levels, and people of color. Actually, 7 out of 10 abortions happen to people of color. Another little rabbit trail. You hear of some of the common reasons that people pursue abortion. One is that, hey, my circumstances don't allow for a pregnancy or a child at this time in my life. Or, gee, having this baby is going to interrupt my plans. Or maybe, hey, I've already got 2 kids, my family's where I want it to be. I don't want another child at this point. I'd encourage people to consider, or maybe reach out, try to find people that have gone ahead and had the baby anyway. Put up with the hardship. My guess is you will not find any of those mothers that will say, boy, I really am sorry I had this child. There's a number of well-known athletes. Aaron Judge, the slugger for New York Yankees. His mother chose to go ahead and have the baby, put it up for adoption, and the next day, the Judge family adopted him. Ohio State fans will remember J.K. Dobbins, the running back, just a few years ago. He still plays for the Baltimore Ravens. His mother walked out of the abortion clinic at the last minute, choosing to keep her child. Micah Parsons, a linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys, similar story. Brave women that very easily could have chosen to terminate the life, that went ahead and took it, had the baby. So I'm not trying to belittle the challenge that's before women in these situations, but I want to encourage you, it's doable to have that child, and the Lord will meet you. And it begs the question, considering the 65 million lives that have been lost in the 50 plus years since Roe v. Wade, man, what has our culture lost from these lives? What could they have been? Who could they have been? What cure for cancer might have been happening? Just again, some things to think about. Last year's defeat at the ballot box with the issues relative to life has opened the door for abortion to happen right up until birth. It makes it possible to eliminate safety standards in abortion clinics. Just this last week in the Marion Star on Wednesday's edition, Below the Fold, we see the headlines where the ACLU and their associates are pursuing to take away the 24-hour wait period before having an abortion. I mean, you buy a house, you've got 3 days, I think, to change your mind. You buy a car, I think you got at least a day, 24 hours to change your mind. But when we're considering life, they don't even want to give a 1-day period, one more time to think about the issue. We've lost a lot of ground. And Marion Citizens for Life, we're not giving up. We're plowing on.
So you talked about it, like losing ground. Is there... Oh, hold on, we'll stop. Let me put your back again.
Now it's caught. How come you guys don't have trouble with this?
I don't know.
She's a veteran.
Okay, well, I'll just restart that question. So you talked about losing a lot of ground. So how do you guys plan to build that ground up? Are you guys planning any upcoming events coming, or how do you plan on bringing that ground back to you?
Well, we're continuing. We got plans to be back at the Popcorn Festival and other events as they become available, just to have a presence in the community, to endeavor to get the word out, to educate people about the truth of the issue, like we've tried to do today. And we so much appreciate the opportunity that TV39 here is giving us to put the message out there. And I think it's falling on viewers that have like mind. And so we beckon you, if your heart beats as ours does, and you'd like to get more involved, give us a call. We'd be happy to have you on board. We're looking for volunteers, not only for Citizens for Life, but there's many other places. Voice of Hope here in Marion, our outreach ministry that's available in the community and in other communities. I think Upper Sandusky and Bucyrus have branches of Voice of Hope. They need volunteers, and so reach out to them. We're looking for people, especially younger. We'd love to have people in the teens, 20s, and 30s, more of the peer group of those people that are in situations where they're debating this choice of choosing life. And I got to think that the message would come a whole lot better from people like Kayleigh than some of the folks that are older than they are. You know, we can't count on government to fix this. We can't count on the courts to fix it, although we watch eagerly to see coming decisions. Certainly, as we learned with last year's ballot initiative, we can't depend on our culture in general to fix it. There's so many more resources from the people that have all the money, the financial resources. This battle needs to be fought one-on-one, one heart at a time, one mind at a time.
You talked about needing volunteers. So how can people get involved with Marion Citizens for Life?
For one thing, we can pray, and anyone can do that. You don't have to leave the house or pay anything to do that. Pray for truth to be proclaimed and understood. Pray for mothers to fully understand that they are choosing to end a life. Pray for people to have and practice a biblical view of sex which is reserved for marriage. Volunteers, join Marion Citizens for Life, help at Voice of Hope or other pro-life organizations, or help at one of our events. Come check us out and see what we're really all about. Be a point person at your church. Give us a call at 740-262-1359 or go to our website, which is MCFLOHIO, that's Marion Citizens for Life, Ohio.com. Lots of good stuff there, including some videos on the various types of abortions that Dale has been talking about. You can donate. There are many good organizations. Again, see our website. We're on Facebook also. And vote pro-life. There is no more important issue. Thank you.
Is there anything, closing statement you guys would like to add to the end of this interview as we're about to wrap up?
I think you can tell that they're pretty passionate about this topic. And I sometimes am amazed that there's not more people speaking out. Yeah. So I'd encourage the viewers to be bold, be educated, know your subject. Again, we can help with that, but stand for life, proclaim it. And I encourage you to be a voice in your church, to rally the troops, to be a part of it. We'd love to see you in October. I'm not sure what day it is this year. It's the first Sunday in October. Come out and just stand for an hour. That's not a lot to ask. And let your voice be heard.
Is there anything you'd like to add to that, Karen?
Well, the one thing, Voice of Hope is at on West Center Street. It's between where the old Montgomery Ward's store used to be and the City Hall on that same side. And it is a pregnancy and family center where, and it's Christian base. The director is wonderful. But it's a group of people that's standing with a family that is choosing life in many ways. So my only other thought is to accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior and get into a Bible-based church and read his word, because Jesus Christ is the giver of life, and as his disciples, that's what we want life to be preserved. I don't believe that he ever created us to kill one another, or especially the baby in the womb. He never wanted us to do life alone. He wants us to thrive. So that's mine.
Yeah. Psalm 139 talks clearly about life in the womb, and that we are knit together there in a very special place, and that we are fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yes.
And just consider any part of the body, your hands, and how intricate and how they function, and study the eye, just how it's put together, and to think that all happened by chance and evolved. Boy, that takes more faith than I have to really believe that kind of information. But yeah, I agree. Seek Jesus.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for coming out. This was a really good interview. I had a good time talking to both of you today. And I hope the audience learned a lot from this interview. And again, you can always call them at 740-262-1359. And their website is mcflohio.com. And again, this is Public Affairs. I'm your host, Kayleigh. Hope you all have a wonderful day.